County Board of Education meeting in special session on Monday, October 30th, 2023, at 7 p.m. West Hampton Elementary. Here, conduct a public hearing on the proposed closure of Ranger Element. It's time, Mr. David Snyder.
And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Such a big room. Can you all hear me in the back there? Can't hear me. That's for that. But we don't have a PA system, so we'll try to be a little loud. Okay. Feel like we're all far apart right here. I guess we'll get used to this in a moment. This is the second of 3 meetings we have on the proposed closure of Ranger Elementary. I will read a couple of things that I had last week. I see some faces that think that the meeting in parts. This is not a chore that this board looks forward to. About closing Ranger has been kicked down the road for many years. It's been put off, and it's now fallen upon this board to make a decision. We are trying very hard to gather facts. I don't think anybody's made up their mind one way or the other. Gathering facts, we're asking questions. We're giving you information that you have. Trying to find the best solution that we can with problems that we have. Don't expect everybody, one way or the other, to be happy with all of our decisions, but facing loss of enrollment, facing so expenditure, maintaining the facility. We have other problems as well. Not an easy task, and I've learned a lot in the last week to 10 days that I didn't know. And I appreciate you all being here tonight. The way this meeting goes, those who have signed in to speak, we let you speak. The board policy is 3 minutes, but because this is such a important topic, the board has agreed to extend that to 5 minutes and to give you more time to make the case, point things out to us. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Superintendent Frank Barnett so he can explain this closure process and anything else that he wishes to say.
Fortunately, I feel a little bit better tonight than I did last week. I can talk a little bit louder. But as Mr. Bell said, the population of Lincoln County has declined since the 2010 census. 2010 census population, Lincoln County had a population of 21,270 people. In 2020, it reflected that the population was 20,463. It reflects a loss of 1,257 students, or a 5.8% negative change. Student enrollment in Lincoln County has also realized a decline during the past 10 years. During 2012-2013 school year, total enrollment was 3,736 students in Lincoln County. However, student enrollment has decreased to 2,942 the 2022-2023 school year and has dropped another 100 for this school year. So many different factors contributing to that. Hope scholarship, charter schools, homeschooling, We have a lot of folks that are leaving the public school system, which puts us all in a bind that way. The information I'm giving to you tonight comes directly from the Comprehensive School Education Facility Plan. And that was written, I think, about 3 years ago when the plan was written. So I'm pulling it directly out of that and reading it to you. Accuracy, I'm reading it. So we're looking at now as accurate as the architects put it together then, to the best of my knowledge, or best of their knowledge. So again, looking at the decline in population, we're losing students on a daily basis. We get phone calls every day of students being pulled out to either go to homeschool or go to virtual school or different things of that nature, and consequently, it hurts us all in the long run. Looking at the physical appraisal of Ranger Elementary during that CEFP, the written description of school's physical structure identified issues. The issues included, but are not limited to, a lack of a sprinkling system, lack of a safe school entrance, which led to school security audit falling below average in all safety areas. Need for a complete wiring upgrade. There is no physical bus loop, or buses are backing in at this point. Said that the roads leading to and from the property were narrow and it wasn't a good situation for buses. Heating and air system is a split system at the end of its life expectancy, and the sewer treatment plant is deteriorated to the point of needing replacement. Building utilization calculation is 38%, which falls below the utilization of 85%, which is desired by the school building authority. So looking at those things that I just mentioned there, those are the reasons for proceeding with this. Now, in addition to this meeting, there will be one Thursday night actually at Ranger. And then the board will have another meeting after that, not that same night, but they'll have another meeting to actually do the vote. And it's up to these 5 folks right here on this board to vote to see what to do next. If the vote is to leave it open, then nothing else happens. If the vote is to close, then it goes on to the state Board of Education for a vote, and that will be in December. You are welcome. If you didn't get to sign up to speak tonight, you're more than welcome to submit to me any kind of written communication you'd like to have. All that gets compiled into a big folder and it all goes. So any kind of comments, like I think in the last packet Christina provided for me, I think there were 3 letters. All those are in a separate folder right now, and those will all go on forward to the state too, because I don't want anybody's voice unheard. So everybody will get a chance to if you, like I say, if you didn't get to speak, make sure if you want to have your voice heard, write it down, and I will get it to the State Department. So that's where we are at this point. I take no pleasure in this. When it first came about, I had to go tell Christina, and I didn't want to send her an email. I didn't want to phone call her. I went straight to her and looked her in the eye to tell her. This was the ball that we were handed. And so that's where we are. That's where we stand at this point. So at this point, I guess, Mr. Bell, if you want to entertain speakers.
Okay. I have 6 people that have signed up. As I said earlier, we'll limit you to 5 minutes, and I've got my phone turned off so it doesn't ring. I set my timer, and the timer will go off when your time is up. At this point, Donna Martin has chosen to speak. Ms. Martin, I'm sorry if you come forward.
I respectfully.
I'm sorry?
I respectfully ask that you strike my name tonight. I wish to speak at the Ranger meeting.
Okay, so you don't want to speak tonight?
Not tonight.
Okay. Sunny Niece?
Honey, how do you spell your first name?
SUNNIE.
SUNNIE.
Okay, I've got 5 minutes set, Ms. Niece, and I'm sorry we don't have a podium, so you can lean on that table. Okay, and you're free to go.
If Ranger was to shut down, would the aides have their kid, or would they have to get a new kid? Like a child or student?
They be able to
You need
follow
the
their
teacher's
child.
aid, sweetheart. The teacher's aide gets new.
As you said, aid for a special needs sister, a brother.
Okay.
Would he have the same aid or would he get a new aid? Is that what you're saying, Sonny?
Yeah.
Well, more than likely, you would not keep the same aid.
Why didn't you point these problems out long ago and fix them?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Why didn't you point these problems out long ago and fix them?
You talk about the problems with the building?
Yes.
Oh, well, bear in mind that 4 of the 5 of us are newly elected and we weren't on the board. These problems have been collecting for years and years and years. I can't answer why they weren't fixed when they were.
Why don't you have a fundraiser to fix Rangers' problems or pay for them?
It's a lot of money, honey. I don't know what fundraiser we can get to fix $1 to $1.5 million for a sewage plant. Oh, thank you, son. Good job. Didn't even take 5 minutes.
I will. Young lady, I'll try to get some answers to this to you and I'll send them to Miss Christina so she can share them with you, okay?
Good job.
Okay, the next speaker is Rebecca Burns.
Just wanted to say, I've been a custodian for Ranger for a couple of years now, and I subbed before them. And, I've been in almost every school in this county except for Midway. And really, our county needs to follow lead with Ranger. There's not a day goes by I don't hear somebody tell kids they love them, or the huggingest bunch of people we ever seen, which is good. But they work countless hours, not paid. They help me on my job. We've been waxing the floor. We worked till 11 o'clock. You all didn't pay for that. The school board didn't have to. They painted on the school. I worked a week. And these teachers had to right on beside me and Christina. And every school I've ever been to, they've never done that. If they work an hour, they take an hour somewhere else. And that really needs to be put in account because they really need to follow suit with these people. And I'm really proud to be a Ranger. And I've worked at some really good schools. I worked along with Don. He's great too, when he was principal, but there's such a family. When I started there, they opened me with open arms. And every kid that's walked in that building, no matter what disability, who their parents is, they're all treated exactly the same and are loved. And you don't find that in these other schools. It's who your parents are, who your friends are, it's all clicked. And they bring them together. They teach the whole kid here. They learn them not only patriotism, they teach them pride in their county, in their state. They teach them to love one another, no matter for what or for who. They teach them respect. And God knows this county needs kids that are taught respect. Because we don't have that anymore. Our kids are something wild, and the bigger they get, the honor they get. And it starts with our babies. Teach them, bring them up. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaker is Rachel Kelly.
Mine goes right along with the way hers starts. And guys, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna stand up here and cry. I've got kids. My youngest is sitting back here. She's 4. I've got them all the way up to be 35 next month. I've had them from West Hamlin, graduated the high school with Dana. Ranger has been the best grade school. I've got one that's autistic. She's been here. Ranger's been the best grade school that has taught my kids. Christina has opened up that school and helped. my two children the best thing. Opened their arms, welcomed my family, my children, my grandkids. And I don't know where we'll be without them. My baby went here for a half a year, and nothing against West Hamlin, period. Got hurt 3 times under 3 adults. Under supervision, came a half a day. Scares me to death to put her in another Lincoln County school. My child's been up there 2 years. I know my child's watched because it's a smaller school, a satisfactory school. I don't know where we'd be without these teachers up there. We need to keep our smaller school open. Our community up there needs it. I know I'm not the only adult up there that has a child that's disabled in that school. Our other children, we need that school up there. Yeah, we're small. We have a small community. But that's what we are. That's who we are. Without that, it's nothing. There's nothing up there. Our kids don't deserve an hour or an hour and a half bus ride to come here or to go to Harts. Braylon, come here. Come here, Mom. Did you put something this size on a bus and expect her to ride an hour and a half to go to pre-K? Because I'm not. It's not fair to her one way to ride an hour and a half. And a lot of kids that live up in our area would have to ride a bus an hour and a half at least to get down here or to go the other direction. These little kids can't handle that. Just a minute. It's not fair to our kids to be on a bus that long and have to sit. It's not fair to our children. I understand our school needs some upkeep, but why can't we do something to prevent it? Like, I understand what you guys said. Some of you guys are new. Our schools have been in this shape for a while. Why couldn't they have stopped this years ago? Don't shut our schools down because they're in bad shape. Why couldn't they have worked on this and stopped it before it got like this? It's not fair to our communities to punish us, to punish our kids, our grandkids for something. And I'm not pointing at you guys individual. Our board, it's their fault. It's, the school board's fault that our schools are in these shape. It's not our communities, it's the school board's fault. If somebody says, hey, we need this fixed, it should have been done a long time ago. Not wait till the last minute and everything's piled up. Just down. So why punish our children for something that should have been done a long time ago? It's not right. But that's it, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Joshua Gray.
So I only got 2 questions, and it's gonna be a short one, but why wouldn't you talk about the sprinklers whenever we haven't had any issues with them? And my second question is, if we go to Harts and I get done with my 5th grade year after I get out of 4th grade, would we go to the Harts Middle School, or would we go to Gown Valley? And that's my only 2 questions.
Let me try to answer that. Your first one is what?
Sprinklers.
Sprinkler, okay. The sprinkler system Well, the state says schools have got to have these things, okay? It's not pointing out your school. When we apply the state guidelines, it just says sprinkler system.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be, no, we don't have a sprinkler system. Several schools in our county don't have a sprinkler system. That would be listed. It's not something that would close you by itself, but it's just one of the several things that's on that list that the school doesn't meet, the state requires. The second one about going to Hearts, since I've been on the board a little over a year now, I have been pushing hard to get Hart students to come to Lincoln County High School. They're Lincoln County students. Many years ago, when the state took over and forced consolidation, we got one high school. When the voters of our county voted down 2 high schools twice, we wound up with one when the state consolidated. An agreement was reached between the state, because they had control. They reached an agreement with Logan County that Chapmanville would take students from Hearts if they wish to go. Now, every student that goes to Logan County, to Chapmanville, is taking money away from Lincoln County. Lincoln County doesn't pay them. The state will pay the enrollment of the student. We lose about $1.2 million every year with Heart students going to Chapmanville. If you figure there's 4 grades going to Chapmanville. That's money that Lincoln County needs to have. We think we've got good programs in Lincoln County. This board has made a commitment to improve vocational education. We're kind of stuck until we can get the Duval Middle School built. And then we'll take the Board of Education office over there where Duval's currently going and make that more of a vocational area as well as the high school. We have big plans. Everything's got to fall into place. So we don't want to send kids to Logan County. But there's an option, there's an agreement with Logan County that the state signed on behalf of Lincoln County several years ago. And if you want to go, you can go. Logan County gets the money for you. Each student, I think the county gets something around $7,000 from the state per student. When you add the federal funds involved in that, that pushes it up to over $14,000 per student. That's money that we can't afford to lose. I want those kids to come back. This year last year we had 4 kids from Hearts. This year we're up to 8. So hopefully we can get more. Next year I'd like to get 12 to 15. If we can get them all. So I hope that answered your
Well,
question.
a little better answer to when you're talking about yours specifically, you asked about going to, if you finish 4th grade or 5th grade at Hearts, can you go to middle school at Hearts? I don't see why you couldn't. Right? I don't see an issue there. Unless something would happen, we'd have a major growth and, 10,000 people moved into Hearts Creek. I don't see an issue with that. Our schools are at the point where we're pretty able to, accommodate you in terms of where you might want to go. Okay, does that help you?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And we have Principal Christina Mounts.
Folks, if I'm looking down, I'm taking notes because these notes go up there too. So I want to make sure I get everybody's, what they said accurately, okay?
I have a couple things tonight that I just want to bring out that was brought out last time in our last meeting. You had alluded at the end of the meeting that Ranger on School Digger, that Ranger was 366 out of 368.
356 out of 358.
Well, it's actually 362, but the year before, we were 300. Our test scores last year really made a huge gap for our children. I want to explain some of the reasons of why those test scores went down last time. And when Mr. Kelly took over, he said the first 2 years, even the third year, there's a possibility of a major drop before you have gains in your scores. But if you will look at in the pink packet that I gave you, if you will look at the 4th page, the dynamics of our kids.
Okay, gotcha. All
Page with the table and
right, the actual
Okay.
pink. Okay.
We have 8 students that are being reared by their grandparents. And we have a total of 72 kids. That means 11% of our kids are living with grandparents, and grandparents are raising them. We have another 11% that the parents and the grandparents are living in the same house, raising the kids. We have another 11% that are in foster care. Then I have 11 students, or 15% of different kids that were in foster care but now are adopted. 52% are living in non-blended families. That means mama and daddy, or at least mama or daddy one, is in the house. I have 66% of my kids, according to WEVAS, are low SES. 37% are considered homeless.
The criteria. Oh,
If you are doubled up in a home with 2 families living in the same home, those children are considered homeless.
So if they're living with their grandparents, they're considered homeless.
Well, that just depends. If grandparents are going through the system and getting assistance, then they're not considered homeless, from my understanding, and I could be wrong on that. Mr. Davis has a broader knowledge of homeless, but to think about that, I have 72 kids and 37% of them are homeless. I have 21% of my kids in SAT, student assistance team.
you step prior to.
Yeah, before you are
Okay.
referred to be attested. And not only that, this year, I have 27% of my kids that have an IEP. Last year, I had 33%. So looking at those dynamics, those kids come in with emotional issues, social issues. And then you expect them, and I expect them to come in, sit down in that seat, get right to work, and do what their best work. Is that reality? Not in my world. I invite each of you, come to Ranger. You don't have to come this week, come next week. Spend an entire day with me. If I have to ride the bus that evening, you ride the bus with me. If I have children that are in kindergarten, that are in foster care, and they don't have the social ability to interact with the other kids, and I have to clear out a classroom because this kid has had some issues and those kids don't deserve to see what's going on, so I clear them out. Their education for the moment is gone. That kid doesn't have to get any academic education. All I can do is sit there and hold him and reassure him that it's okay, that he's safe. I know that don't seem reality, but if you have, and you all have, hopefully most of you have worked in the system, our children today in society are not the kids that you had in school, or you had in school, or you had in school. We have lots of children that are coming to school that were drug addicted when they were born. We have more autistic children. I have children that have traumatic brain injuries. I know my time's up.
Well, I've got lots of questions, so why don't you just have a seat right there and we'll do that. I appreciate your passion. Thank you. Mr. Davis, the definition of homeless.
Well, like, Ms. Mount said, if families are doubled up and it's not by choice, they're doubled up out of need, and those kids would be considered homeless, and that would be the only would. So if there's two sets of kids and they're doubled up, only the set that's doubled up out of need is actual homeless.
The ones that
kids.
moved into the house.
Right, so if they're living out of a car, out of a hotel room, out of a camper, they're considered homeless. If they're in foster care, they are not considered homeless.
If they sleep on a couch,
No, not if they sleep on a couch.
If they're with their grandparents out of need, if
If
they're
they're
with
with
their aunt and
it,
uncle out of need, it's still homeless.
that only if the parents living with them as well. If they're having, the whole family's living there.
Right.
But if the kids are staying with their grandparents, they're not necessarily homeless and they're being cared for.
it's not.
We
even
have
if-
the Grand Families Program
Right.
that a lot of our families participate in throughout the county. And those grand families gets extra support,
We
from my understanding.
We
Yeah,
were told
we-
last year, Principal Mounds, that when the social worker thing was going on last year, that 58% of kids in Lincoln County were living with grandparents. Isn't that what you all?
That's the statistic that Ms. Burton gave us.
So your school's really not atypical as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at my 72 students,
Yeah,
I'm just saying
but it's got-
statistically, but
It's the same throughout the whole county.
Yeah, but it's the trend. Almost 6 out of 10 kids are living with grandparents, and we know that drugs have a lot to do with that. That's why that's happening. There may be other reasons. Generally speaking, it's a drug problem. And it's all over the county. It's all over the state. It's all over the country. I did a lot of work on this weekend and
oh, good.
went through this, and I actually found that the percentage that you have in foster care is lower than the state average. I couldn't find anything on the adoption. But on the blended, non-blended family, the traditional family, let's call it that, the traditional family. I went and did some research on the traditional family. And there is no educational research that shows that the traditional family is any more effective in student achievement, talking strictly student achievement, than kids who aren't in a traditional family. Kids achieve according to their individual self and what's presented in front of them. So I went through all of that. I can't remember all of it now because I'm thinking off the top of my head. But those things that you pointed out are kind of all over. They're not unique to Ranger. But it left me when I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about being 356 out of 358. What program, do you have any specific programs in effect? And I'm the academic guy on this team up here. What specific academic program do you have to address student achievement?
We are working with the Jennifer Ashlock. K through 2, 3, some of our third graders are still receiving some Jennifer Ashlock strategies.
That's what the whole county does that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
Yes. We use the Wonders reading series. That's what the county has. We supplement with things that teachers pull out from resources they have. We use the regular county math curriculum. Mr. Hicks, oh, there he is. Mr. Hicks has our special needs teacher. We do inclusion with our children because if I've got children that have social issues and emotional issues, and I put them in a room by themselves all day long, are they ever going to learn how to be socially interactive with other children?
But the point I was trying to get is that all those things you just said, all the schools are doing, all right? Now, be almost at the bottom, and you say there's improvement year before or this year, I don't.
This past year, our scores went down.
Okay.
Our scores went down.
Okay, I was looking, I want you to convince me what academically is going on or what you will be doing going on to address the academic deficiency that's showing up there.
We have a 40-minute skill block every morning that works on reading skills and math skills. We're using the iReady program daily to do iReady lessons on the children's individual abilities. Right now, I'm just sorry.
Measuring.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me, I'm struggling to find my paper. Just bear with me just a minute.
And is this something that new that you started this year, the 40-minute block?
Yes.
Oh, I've got it here somewhere. Well, I asked Mr. Barnett to pull your grades from last year. Like I say, it's academics is my big thing. I looked at last year's grades. Well, at any point, you wouldn't have that, would you? That was my main point. I've lost it.
Very good.
Okay. Now you've got a school that's has been rated by the state standard as academically in trouble. Let's say that. I looked at the
No.
grade. I looked at the grade level scores. Now, when you go to the state standardized test, school digger, whatever, you're down at the bottom. But I looked at the classroom scores, and just in the first grade, that consisted of 17 students. We had 8 A's, 6 B's. The 14 of the 17 kids got A's or B's. And yet when they test, it's not happening. You got 2 C's and 1 D. We went to the second grade, no A's. You got 6 B's, 3 C's, 2 D's. Then we go to the third grade, 4 A's, 6 B's, 3 C's. Fourth grade, 4 A's, 5 B's, 1 C. And that carries on eighth grade or fifth grade, 3 A's, 4 B's, 1 C. It's top heavy on report card grades.
Yes.
Okay. But it's low on actual student achievement, which, and I've been working with the board and we're trying to get a policy passed. When you send A work home or B work home, these parents think their kids are doing really good.
Absolutely. They are.
And then when they take the state test compared to other kids, they aren't doing so hot.
You should realize how close that test is, don't it?
There's a discrepancy there.
I totally agree with you. There is a discrepancy. But when that test is going on, I have no, and I'm not trying to find an excuse. I have no idea what's going on with my children at that point when they're testing.
Can
When
I back up to the, I'm asking a clarifying question. The, this year you started your new 40-minute,
Yes,
okay, and that covers reading and math deficiencies.
yes.
Okay, and that was just in.
And that's skills that children
Based on their iReady and.
and their iReady scores, yes.
All right, thanks.
Could you give us a little more information on what you mean by you don't know what's going on?
I don't know if there was something that happened the night before the test in their home and the cops had to come. I don't know if they slept any that night.
But that's the same, all schools.
Exactly.
So
But when
how
I,
are the rest of their scores? Are theirs better than ours? In the county? I mean, you're the one that keep pulling in other schools.
I'm
So-
saying here, there's a discrepancy between the grades that they're
I
getting
understand that.
and the achievement that they're showing.
I understand that.
Now,
Sure there is. Not supposed to teach to the test.
no.
So,
You're,
We don't teach the test, so it doesn't match up. It's apples and oranges, sir.
well, no, it's not apples and oranges. We're looking here at student achievement. Every parent in this district sends their kid to whatever school they go to. So they will achieve. Now, we want these kids to achieve. Now, how do we go about doing that?
Well, I think in creating that 40-minute block was the most important thing that I could have done this year in strategically picking out their weaknesses and then placing them in those groups to work to meet those, to make them become proficient in whatever skill gaps they have.
which is kind of like.
Mr.
the
Barnett,
intervention that we had, that
next
they-
meeting at Ranger. Could you have the iReady
I have them.
results for the last 3 years?
Oh, I've got this year's first testing.
Yeah, but I want a historical trend. We're looking at, excuse me, ma'am, that we're past public
Just sit
comment
there.
time. We're- We want trend, we want to find out why there's an achievement gap, okay? I'm saying, look, all kids in this state, just about, unless you come from the affluent part of Charleston, are undergoing the same things that we go through. Why are we not achieving? That's what we want to do. I want to look at that iReady data next week and, when I get that, if Mr. Barnett would permit me, I'd like to talk with you and him both about it, see what's going on. Not pointing fingers at anybody. That's not what we're doing here. I want to make sure that we've got academic programs that meets the needs of kids, period. Okay?
Are you checking all?
Excuse me a minute. When we go on, we'll leave this for now and work on that. But when we go on to the other section here on your pink sheet, I got a lot of questions from it, so.
Okay.
Staffing.
Mhm.
If I'm wrong here, tell me, but you've got 20 adults working at 20 part-time and full-time adults working at Ranger for 72 kids. Is that correct?
I have one, let me clarify how we got it. I have one CIS, Communities and School person. That is through Mountain State. I have a counselor that comes 2 days a week. I share her with West Hamlin. I have a nurse that comes 1 day a week. I have a itinerant social worker that comes 1 day, maybe every other week, depending on how the rotation is. I have one cook, one custodian.
Let me
9
look through this
teachers.
list. Wait, there is you, the principal. You got 8 teachers, is that correct?
I want to say 9. 8 could be correct. Pre-KK, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes,
Mr. Hicks,
Okay.
sorry,
And you've got counselor
2 days a week.
halftime, okay.
That's not even.
No.
And you've got, well, the nurse 1 day a week, we can't even count her
Yeah.
halftime. Social worker,
You can't even count her because she's,
beach, 1 day. CIS
she's every day.
every day. Cook, 5 aides,
Yes,
1 custodian,
yes,
1 secretary.
Yes.
Okay, we'll discard those halftime, or those temporary part-time.
How many of those aides are assigned to individual students?
3.
Thank you.
I have 2 ECAT aides and 3 special needs aides.
Thank you.
So we've got 18 full-time staff.
Yes,
Okay. You've got 72
2 children.
students, okay. Okay. This is fact-finding is what we're doing here.
I tried to provide every bit of it. I'm not hiding anything.
I appreciate that. This has been very helpful. Okay. Let's go to the bus transportation thing. I kept seeing Route 26, 28, 29, 32, and I thought, where's Route 37? I finally figured out it was bus routes you're
Yeah.
talking about. Okay. I looked at this and let me preface that with this. I had a bus driver do a favor for me. Bear with me just a second. Okay. This bus driver left parts PKA
Mhm.
and gave me the mileage and the time.
Mhm.
Actual school bus, not driving in your car.
Mhm.
I'm gonna read it backward. From the Ranger Bridge.
Mhm.
Okay. Ranger Bridge to Hart Middle School is 8 miles.
Approximately 8 miles.
It took 11 minutes
Okay.
to make that route.
That is
Okay.
absolutely no stop.
Yeah.
8 miles and 11 minutes.
Making any stop, stopping us this year. Yeah.
Guys,
From Ranger Bridge to West Hamlin is 15 miles. And it took 19 minutes. So let's just assume for a second that you go in one place or the other, all right? Now, that means the bus routes would increase by either 11 or 19 minutes than what they are now. I looked at the bus schedule pretty thoroughly. If the kids from Ranger Bridge down toward 10 Mile, it really doesn't increase their time if they go to West Ham. I said, went to Hart, it
10
would,
mile.
Yeah.
Coming out of 10 mile.
coming out of 10.
If you pick the first kid up at the head of 10 mile, come
Yeah,
out.
I'm not, yeah, I'm,
Well, now, if we're going to do it that way, you have to do from the bus stop, from the first kid getting on to get an actual time frame. First kid gets on, when the first kid gets off. That gives you that actual time that those kids are on that bus.
right.
Now,
But they're gonna be from the head of 10 Mile regardless of where they're going. All right?
exactly.
Okay.
But if they're already on the bus, my 10 mile run's not my problem, not my question. My Route 37 code gap is 50 minutes right now going home every day.
That bus goes
The evening bus,
14-mile mountain,
it goes to the bottom
then
of
it goes
14,
Route 37.
then it goes up to the head of Barberry, then it
Barberry.
goes up to the head of Barberry, then it goes all the way to the top of Coke Gap, and then comes back out. When it lets that last child off, it is every bit of 50 minutes. And those kids are kindergarten and first grade students. Their father and mother have adopted them, and that's their permanent house. They're not going to move. So 50 minutes, just take off the 10 minutes to come from the mouth of 37 to
14-mile mountain.
no, from 437, they go toward Hearts. Add on that 11 minutes and it's still going to be close to 50 minutes.
Obvious to me that if there were to be a school closure, there would have to be a rejuggling of bus routes and probably the adding of one bus in that area to make it even halfway feasible. Bus routes have to be adjusted. It's
Well,
doable.
how come we can't do that this year with my children, them already on there?
You've got a bus going up Lick Fork,
Yes,
and then it goes up the Nats Creek and Aaron's Creek.
and Hamilton's Creek.
I'm assuming that once it goes up Lick Fork, it drops those kids off and then makes the Nats Creek Road. It doesn't
No.
drop. It doesn't have to travel a half mile and then.
That's an evening run. The Nats Creek, Aaron's Creek, Hamilton's Creek, then it comes out of those, goes across the bridge, south to Lick Fork in the evening. Drops those children off.
Lick Fork children are the
Oh,
last
the
ones to
Lick
get off the
Fork
bus.
kids. Okay.
In
that's
the
it.
mornings,
Got it.
there's a bus run that starts in the head of Barberry, comes out of Barberry, picks up from the mouth of Barberry, out 37, up to the bottom of 14, then comes back and goes up Lick Fork, then comes out of there and comes to Ranger.
Wonder they have a 50-minute.
Well, there's not enough bus drivers.
Yeah, it's, they're.
I'm not trying to be rude and disrespectful to you in any manner,
Oh, we're trying to.
but right now I'm just we've got a situation in our community right now.
We're trying to.
So that's taking-
So it appears as though there's a bus route that needs to be fixed somewhere. Let me see. For the sake of brevity, I'll say.
I'm thankful that you have even read this. I appreciate that.
Oh, I have. I've read it. It's,
And I didn't try to hide test scores. If you will look in there in the, find it myself. I put the last 5 years worth of test scores in there from 2014 in the light purple. No, it's not the light purple. All the way through last year. You have that documentation there from the general summative assessment. That's there every year. I've put our attendance in there for every year. I've even included the write-ups on Weebus for discipline. Not only mine, I included every schools in the county.
all that.
Now you look at how many were at my school compared to the other elementary schools.
Well, I can say this, I grew up in that area and, 50+ years ago, discipline was never a problem up in there. Yeah,
No, it is not.
It's,
Now, when they leave me and go to Gang Valley, all structure is gone from my building because we have rules, regulations, respect, and they know that I'm going to call mama and daddy or take them to the house myself. That's just bottom line, and the parents know this. And I'm not trying to say I'm not going to have an issue. God knows last year I had an issue. I had a vape pen, first time ever. And had to call central office to get guidance because I've never had that before. And I'm not afraid to ask for help. Ask Mr. Davis, God bless his heart. But my community, this little school is the heart of my community. I don't care if it's 72 kids or 150 kids. They're all going to be treated the same way and have the same expectations. My special needs kids are held to the same expectations as my children that make straight A's. And you ask any of them, they'll tell you that. She don't cut nobody no slack. She treats you just like you are the same kid as any other child. She respects you, but she earns your respect in return. There's not a whole lot of schools left that can say that.
Okay, Mr. Barnett, you want a closing statement?
Like I said earlier, Ms. Mounts, I certainly appreciate all of this. And then at some point, I've not had the opportunity to do so. I would like to maybe give notice and I can come up and get you and we go run this crowd.
Great.
So I think that's the best professional development you can have.
Absolutely. We can ride a bus in the morning or the evening.
I'd love to do that. And just to, experience what kids experience. Okay. But like I said, this is the, that's the purpose of these meetings, to shed some light on some things. And that's the whole purpose of it.
And I appreciate you giving me the honor, the ability to answer some of the questions.
So there will be another one Thursday night, if you have at your place. And then we'll, at this point, I'm not exactly sure what the date will be on the actual votes, but I'll let you know that as soon as I know. And then we will go from there. And then again, once all this, that's why I took meticulous notes. All this goes to the state so they can peruse all over it and get accurate information. And then, so like I said, if the board votes to keep it, then it goes no further. And if the board votes to close, then we send everything to the State Department and they have the final say. And that will be, I believe that date of that meeting is December 14th. So, and that's in Charleston. Yes, ma'am.
So if you say here, you all decide to close and you send it to the state, if they decide not to close, do they have a choice to close or not to close?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they
State
do.
makes the final decision.
State makes the final decision.
Are we concerned at all, are you guys, the board, concerned at all that once we send a lot of these elementary school kids over to Harts, that give them the opportunity, they're all gonna go to Logan, and it's that Lincoln County's gonna lose that funding? Because once they start building relationships and friendships in another school, and they're around the people, they're not gonna wanna leave all those other kids that they're, just learned, made friends all over, back to another county. Yeah. So we're gonna.
I expressed my concern about that earlier. I think.
Lose money.
That's about $500,000 loss in the Lincoln County. It doesn't matter.
Lose money.
I don't know if I have the opportunity to ask another question, but I know they were talking about siblings. If you've got, and just as Mr. Neese, for an example, he has a daughter that is in Guyan Valley right now. But where he lives, his other children would be going to Harts. Is that child going to go from Guyan Valley, or is he going to be allowed to move her from Guyan Valley so that all his children go with the same school?
Said where he lives.
He lives on Route 37.
Have we drawn a line?
Well, from my understanding, Route 37 would be going to Harts.
You haven't decided that.
No.
That hasn't been.
Well, then if you're going to take Route 37 to West Hamlin, you're going to have a longer bus ride than 50 minutes. I
rode that bus in high school.
Well, buddy, you come on up and then you ride. Charles, there ain't no way.
According to. According to, bus drivers, now, where you live on, go up Sulphur Springs, or Barberry, I guess. That's probably your farthest away if you get up to the head of there.
Nope.
But,
It's the farthest.
Cove Gap is,
You've got,
it's only about 3 miles from the mouth of 37.
about the mountain in the head of the 10 mile. The mountain in the head of 10 mile.
Oh, 10 mile. I'm talking.
That's
Route
Cove Gap
37.
Road.
Okay.
It goes up there.
Yeah, Route 37, it's only going to be about,
If you go to the Wayne Lincoln line and come out of 37, that's not where the bus goes. The bus crosses the Wayne County line, goes to the head of 10 mile, and there is 4, 5, 6, 7 children on the top of the hill there.
That's just ours. There's more.
There's others.
is that Wayne County?
Yes.
No,
No, it's Lincoln. It's Lincoln, but you go in Wayne to get there.
10 mile comes up, Cove Gap comes up, meets the top of the hill.
Yep.
And Cove Gap's right across from Queensboro Street.
And
Okay.
up to the
Where's-
top of the hill is
After
actually
you
a
pick
range.
those
road.
kids up, how far do you go to get the other child?
You come back to the Wayne Lincoln line and pick up the next one.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
She lives right on the line. I know that because she's my granddaughter.
So we're actually, how many miles would you say that is from the Lincoln Wayne line till you pick up those kids until you come back?
I could not tell you that. Off the top of my head, I could not tell you that.
Can you ask around and find out?
Sure.
Before,
I'll go measure. Okay, I'll go measure it for you.
Don't the buses have GPSs on them? Wouldn't it tell you the miles that they go
sure.
and where they're going? from?
Well, if I knew where those kids lived, I don't know where they live.
Now you come on out, I'll take you. I know where everybody lives. I know mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, probably their great grandparents and aunts and uncles. I can tell you a whole lot about it. I'm sorry.
Email me the plan.
Okay.
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 Again, I want to thank you folks. Been a nice, productive meeting, orderly meeting. I appreciate it. I know the rest of the board does as well.
I just want what's best for these kids.
Well,
I don't care if I have a job next year. That doesn't bother me in the least.
whatever
As long as
decision-
my babies have a school to go to, that's all that matters to me.
Whatever decision this board makes is based on what we feel is best for kids. I can assure you that
That's.
politics has nothing to do with it. Favoritism has nothing to do with
No,
it. We'll make
Look at
this-
kids. Look at our children.
Oh, well, with that, we'll see you all on Thursday night.
Then we
If
have,
I can ask for start the deal.
our meeting's tomorrow.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn until tomorrow night. Dana Snyder makes the motion.
I'll second.
Burns seconds. The time is 8:02. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned, and we'll see you tomorrow night at midnight.
Thursday.